Okay, so do you speak English at home, or what do you speak at home mostly?
Well, both. It's like
Both. Oh,
mixed.
it's like
I
a-
speak Farsi and English, but we mix Farsi and English at home.
States. So what have you served as a translator, like in a doctor-patient kind of interaction?
I actually have for
With
my
your
grandma.
With your grandma, okay. And how was that? Was it difficult to translate, like exactly what the doctor was saying?
It was pretty difficult because when my grandma was telling me like her condition, I was trying to translate that over to her doctor. I sometimes couldn't find the right or like the specific word that I was looking for to like explain the condition, and it was a bit difficult. So when the doctor was like repeating what I said to him, I was like, that's not quite what I was trying to tell him.
How
So
big of an impact does your family have on making decisions, like for you individually?
well, they have a very big impact because I normally don't do anything without their approval. Not necessarily like I have to like ask them about everything I do, but just I would want their input in what I would do and in my ultimate decision.
So they have a huge impact, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they
And what
have
you
a
do.
pretty big impact.
How different is your family from your friends' families?
They're more, I don't know. They're more closer and protective.
You're more protective,
Yeah.
so
They don't let us like stay late and do like that stuff. And we have to call them every time, like where we are. We have to tell them if like we've passed our time.
most, I guess, Americans would think that that they're very strict,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's so terrible. Your parents are so strict or whatever. But would you say that that's true, that they're so strict and mean, or not really?
Not really, because they're trying to protect you, like from, prevent from bad stuff happening.
Okay, so then because your parents are, I guess, more aware of what you're doing, and so you can't stay out late, obviously.
Yeah.
So that means you probably don't go out drinking and smoking, like.
Because like we're not allowed to go out and party and stuff and drink or smoke, and that prevents from like accidents and getting sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this actually reminds me of like socioeconomic status and health. So because like when he was saying like his friends get busted or whatever, like if they continue that lifestyle, it eventually leads to their like not finishing college and education, not getting a career. But since we focus on a career so much in the future, like that has good health outcomes. Whereas like people who end up like homeless or something, some of his friends will end up homeless one day, like mine too. And those homeless people are like obviously have worse health, or like just in general these people who do these bad activities will in the future have worse health because of that relationship.
I grew up in Belen, it's a little bit south of here, and everyone, it's just like you party. That's what you do. The weekends, everyone's getting drunk, and then they're talking about it. And then even at school, they bring like alcohol in their Sonic cups and stuff. It's like, and there are people like smoking weed in the back rooms. It was crazy. And they still continue to have that party lifestyle, and like because their parents weren't really super strict or whatever. Not strict, but they just didn't care enough to have rules with their kids. And so
What his story, I guess, like of not being able to go out.
Mhm.
And like I know like my brother, for example, or like his brothers, like they don't like do all that, but like
Yeah.
all they do is go to the gym.
Really?
Cause like they can't do
They can't do anything else.
So they
that's
focus on
good
their
for
self
your
image.
health.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's directly related to your health. Yeah, that's really interesting.
We could ask him.
It all relates. Like it's like your parents just being aware of what you're doing kind of changes your whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah. That's like whole new like insight for me. I'm like, well, that really does make a huge difference. And that's huge in Afghan culture.
Yep.
And most Americans see that as that's just strict. Oh, you can't have any fun. Whatever.
And that's why like our parents are like such a like big. There's how Americans like when they're 18 suddenly get emancipated. It's like so unheard of. Like you just take care of your parents for the rest of your life because they made you who you are, literally, and like, you know, later on physically, spiritually. And so like that's why we care so much about our parents, because they do affect our life in that way. Because if we were American, then we would be doing different things.
That's so true. It's because they realize the value of hard work, and it's ingrained in their culture that you need to respect your elders and that kind of thing, and that translates over to being successful, you know? So,
Yeah.
it all relates. That's crazy. My mind is blown.
You should put that
I know, I'll leave that in there. My mind is really blown. That was good.
in.
Big picture.
What are
Like,
you going to be?
Civil engineer.
Okay, you already know.
yeah. Like,
Well-
you know, it's funny because like him, for example, senior in high school, or even me when I was like, I want to do a biochem major. I have no idea what biochemistry is. He has no idea what civil engineering is. But you just
do
know
it.
you want to do
Yeah,
it. Eventually you love it.
Hopefully.
That's all.
Similar. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess like in the Vietnamese culture, there's kind of like the same thing where parents are a lot stricter. I mean, it's a lot, there's like a lot of double standard in the Vietnamese culture, and I think that's true of like a lot of Asian cultures.
What do you mean double standard?
Like, boys are allowed to stay out late, they're allowed to go out, but girls aren't given that like that same privilege. So like, I remember when I was I was like 19 and I wanted to go on a trip with Loy.
Yeah.
And then mom was like, no, like you're crazy, no. And you know, that was already like the summer of my freshman year in college or whatever. Yeah, and then I was like, well, my brother got to go when he was 19. And then, you know, she was like, well, your brother's different. He can't get pregnant. So I'm like, but he can get a girl pregnant. Like, how is this, like, how are we having this conversation right now?
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's things like that. But I guess, like, in relation to health, like, Asians are also a lot stricter in regards to health. So, like, for example, if you have a sore throat, in the U.S., you're just like, there's like, drink fluids, drink as many fluids as you can. But, like, if you're in Vietnam, they like, don't drink any cold fluids because it'll make your throat worse. Just drink hot fluids. And like, I guess that's somewhat true, but not necessarily, you know. And like, for example, in Vietnam, after a woman has her baby, she's not allowed to like leave the house for like a month. She's not allowed to like shower for a month. She can only like,
It's like dirty.
yeah, she can only like clean herself because she's supposed to stay warm for like the baby.
Did that like transfer over to the United States? Does that still happen here or not really?
Not really. I mean, I would say like a little bit. Like a lot of people try to keep the tradition, but it's just a lot harder here because, you know, people have to go to work. Yeah, people have to go to work, and nobody likes to not bathe for a month.
Just little things like
Right,
that.
little things like
But
that.
it kind of, but not. So it didn't really carry over to the U.S. at all.
I don't know. Like, for example, Loy's sister, she had 4 kids, right? So, like, the first kid, she's like, yeah, I was able to stay in for, like, 3 weeks. And the second kid's like, yeah, I was, like, 2 weeks. And the third kid, yeah, 1 week, you know. So it changes.
Yeah.
But,
Something that was interesting also, one of the people we visited yesterday, he was Afghan, he said, he was like, well, culture changes and we want to keep the good things, the good Afghan things, and we want to learn the good American things. And so I guess in that way with that, it's kind of similar.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. Cultures change, people change.
Yeah. But
There's, like, a lot of restrictions. Like, for example, like, after you get surgery, you shouldn't eat any beef or any seafood because they say that it causes your scarring to like stay more. Whereas like if you see things like chicken and pork, your scar will like heal faster and you won't get the scar necessarily. You know. So like after I got my fifth surgery, mom was like, no seafood for you. You know, no beef for you. And it's like, but my doctor didn't say anything. Like my doctor said I could eat whatever.
yeah.
So there's things like that. But
I wonder if is there any like science to back that up at all?
I don't know. I mean, you know, in a lot of cultures, I don't think there's any science that backs up.
But sometimes it's true.
Right,
you
sometimes
know?
it's true. I mean, I don't think anyone's ever like done the study.
Yeah.
But like in regards to the like what I said with the pregnancy thing, like where women have to like stay in for a month, they have to like take certain measures to take care of their body, and like I was like, I was like, I don't see why that's true. I was like, a lot of American women have like a stronger immune system than Vietnamese women do. So I was like, I don't think that's true. But then, like, you know, the adults are telling me, they're like, well, yeah, maybe at that moment, but like, look at them when they're older. Like, you see, like, a lot of older Asian women, they still look, you know, like, whereas, you know, we don't wear, I don't know, we don't wear out as much. I don't know, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see with you, right?
Yeah,
Because
we'll
you're like
see.
first generation.
Yeah, so.
But no, it's true. Your mom looks good. you know?
Right, it's like, I don't.
Go for it.
So, like, for example, I think being in America, I think sometimes has a lot of like negative health effects as well on, you know, people who aren't necessarily from the culture. So, for example, like, for some reason, like, everybody in America gets cramps, right? So my cramps are like awful, but no one in Vietnam has cramps.
No?
No, like, none of my family has cramps, and it's just like little things like that where you really have to like wonder, you know, like.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
Are you sure it's
I'm
not
sure.
just... That's weird.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, my mom's just like one time she got cramps once, and she thought I had to go to the emergency room. And I'm like, Mom, I experience that every single month. Like,
Yeah. That's really, really strange.
right. And then remember how we talked about, I think in HMHV, where it was like after like immigrants come from Mexico, like the first generation is always unhealthier than the like, you know, the older generation.
Even terms like, you know, like anesthetic, that's not used.
You can't translate it easily
Yeah, and there's
over.
like, exactly. Or like I'll go to the doctor and or like my stepfather will, and she doesn't quite understand like all the things that the doctor's asking. So then you have to figure out, or like I'll have to explain it in Hindi or Punjabi, or my dad will. Or sometimes, like, I'll just answer for her. I mean, she knows, like, she understands English really well, and
Yeah.
she speaks it well.
Yeah, I talked with her before.
Right. But the thing is, like, sometimes the terms doctors ask, like, it's just also anxiety from the doctor, so that makes a difference. A lot of, like, Indian people prefer Indian doctors over, like,
Oh,
American
so it's-
doctors. So, because then they feel like there's an understanding, and if there's a language barrier, a lot of people prefer talking in the language. Or even if someone just comes says hi to you, you know, in like your language, you're like, oh hi, I feel so comfortable. Like that happened to me when I had to get my surgery last summer.
Yeah.
I had to go to the ER several times, but the first time that I went, I met with an American doctor, and he knew my cousin, so I felt more comfortable than I did prior to knowing that. But once I had to go to the ER at another hospital, because that's where my surgery was going to be, the doctor on shift was an Indian doctor, so she was talking to us, and of course my parents were there and my brother was there.
Okay.
So like they all kind of knew each other, so like just knowing that, oh, it's another person of the same cultural background,
So
it's just comforting.
A lot of Indians will seek out Indian doctors.
Exactly,
Immigrants.
yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That's interesting. I mean, that makes sense. I guess. Because it is, I don't know, if it's just like an American white doctor, they don't understand, they don't have the same understandings as you
Right.
in some ways.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's like what we're talking about in Anne's class
Yeah.
with going to see like your kind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because then you feel like there's almost no judgment, because, for example, like you were talking about Afghan women, right, and how they prefer like to seek a woman doctor or physician, or like rather not have them touch their body, right? So in order to feel comfortable, you would seek out a person of the same cultural background, because they understand the value and the practices,
Yeah.
instead of someone being completely you know, like used to the whole understanding and just being, well, why won't you let me do it? Remember the video we watched in Tamar's class where the old man, the Afghani man, was like uncomfortable. So like, it's just.
You'd rather have an Indian
Yeah,
doctor.
I mean personally, I don't care, but I know a lot of Indians prefer. Yeah.
You can't touch. You're not supposed to touch. Like non-Islam people can't. Like if you per se like. The guy who's doing the autopsy can't touch Muslim bodies if he's not Muslim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I hope my cough doesn't mess up the video. But I guess like when you moved, your parents, did they know English at the time?
My mom took classes before we got here, but everyone else, me and my dad had no idea how to speak.
Yeah.
It sucks because like in reality, I don't think Afghans and like Middle Easterns in general are as oppressed if they're not wearing a scarf, as like books and movies portray some people to be like blacks or whatever. What?
We're not.
That's what I'm saying, because we look
Most
normal.
of your doctors are Middle Eastern. Like what?
That's true.
And we look normal.
We don't.
Like we don't.
Everyone like always says you're so white for being Middle Eastern. I'm like, no, I'm not. What do you expect us to be
They
like?
expect to
Burned
be
as? You're
like-
like, no, we're not. We're light skinned. I don't know why people
Yeah,
expect
so
us
it's
to be
like
dark
hard
as
to
hell.
like find things like, oh, like the doctor looked down upon me or whatever. But
That's
did you have
true.
to translate? What about translating?
Translating. What do you mean?
Did you have to translate for
I
anyone
have to
ever?
have a translator.
Talk about that experience.
First grade, I got lucky, and they put me in a class where there was this Afghan boy, and yeah, it was horrible because he spoke terrible Farsi, but I still managed until I learned English. I can't remember. I think his name was Samir or something.
So Afghan Farsi is different.
Afghan Farsi is way different than regular Farsi. We can understand each other, but it's different.
Like, that's another big issue is because in very concentrated states such as like California or let's say Virginia or Washington, where there's a huge Afghan population or a huge Iranian culture population, they think that they can just get a Farsi translator, and that can be, they can get an Iranian for an Afghan one or an Afghan for Iranian, and that's not always the same. It's for the elders, they can understand and
Are you recording right now?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I've been recording this whole
They
time.
can
It's
understand
counting.
the differences
Okay.
if it's someone speaking, but for people like me and Vassal who are younger, it's hard for us to like catch every word. It's really different, and so people think it's the same. And that's even when they try to translate, I guess they're not really translating the right thing.
So are words different? Is that what it is, or just ways?
Pronunciation.
Oh, pronunciation.
And even
dialect.
dialect, yeah. It's way worse than British English and versus
Oh.
Yeah, like
American English.
Australian English and British English and regular English, you can easily. Well, maybe Australian's a little more difficult, but
You can still understand
You
what
can
they're
still
saying.
understand them. With us, it's like I have to try really hard to understand what I'm asking.
It's almost like put subtitles on, but they think it's the same thing, so that must have been hard for you, huh?
Yeah, it was.
Do you have like an example of a phrase or something that, just so I can like hear it? Maybe I
Even
can-
such a
Dora.
No, that's the same.
No, it's
Even
not.
yeah, Dora.
Doru. You see that?
Dora. But I mean, because theirs is the formal way, so I know somewhat formal, but they don't know our slang way that evolved in Afghanistan.
I see. So that's not slang then. That's kind of your slang is formal Afghan, or not
Yeah.
really.
It's what they normally speak, so we
Yeah.
they would consider it slang.
Okay.
I mean, the elders speak more like them. Without the accent, they use the same dialect, but that's the elders who really know the language. With people like us who are half generation and slowly losing it,
Yeah.
it's hard to like know the real way. It's just what we're taught from our parents. So I feel bad for my future kids. I'm like, good luck.
No, I'll speak Farsi.
No, I'll speak to them, but they'll not really know the real way. It's just a very, very informal.
Well, everything changes.
Right.
Even like the formal way changed from an even more formal way, right?
Yeah.
Before that, so it's not.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. If I listen to like old like scriptures being read or something, I'm like, what the hell language is this? It makes no sense. Or like when my parents were watching Persian crap on TV, and it's like their talk shows. They speak so weird, it makes no sense.
Mm.
Yeah.
Even the songs.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
The
can't
songs
understand
from
the songs.
The songs from when our parents were teenagers or like in their early 20s makes
Yeah.
no sense to us.
Huh. That's interesting. That makes sense though, because even for like in America, if you try to read, I don't know, the Constitution, it's that
Mhm.
language is different.
You try to read Old English like
Old English.
Beowulf, that makes no
No,
sense.
that's
Shakespeare,
zero.
yeah.
So that makes sense. So then, like, when you go to the doctor and there's a Farsi translator, well, if they're Afghan, you're not Afghan.
My mom was a Farsi translator. That's how she got work. That was her first job.
So she probably
With Catholic
translated.
charities.
Catholic charities?
Yeah,
They do all kinds
since
of, like,
she knew
immigrant
some-
stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Since she knew some English, she worked for them to translate for the other Afghans coming to America.
Do you have any stories or like do you know of any encounters or problems that you faced?
her English wasn't good, but I mean, like Grandina's family, we helped them. We translated for them.
Oh.
Yeah.
We actually interviewed her too.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a full circle.
Dude, I
Yeah.
have so many friends that came here hoping
like-
to start a new life, and nothing
it's
happened because they
crappier,
couldn't
yeah.
learn English, and it was so hard to find a job, so they just went back.
Really?
Yeah, it's hard as shit. People come here in like aspirations of making a new life, and then they're like, "Oh, I can't speak English. Oh, I'm like 30 and trying to learn a new language. Sorry, I have to go back home."
That's rough.
Yeah.
Or they hope to mooch off of family members that did
That are
make it.
doing well. It is harder to learn like new language the older you get. So luckily for you guys.
That's why it's different now though. They start teaching English. Like all my cousins have been taking English for
okay.
like 2 years.
That's like
Did you ever in a medical, like in a, I guess in an appointment or something, like feel like you were being treated differently or whatever?
No.
Yeah, it's really hard. Like
No, like I
yeah.
would remember. They
No.
were treated pretty well as far as that goes.
that's a good thing.
Before 9/11.
Yeah.
After that, it didn't matter what doctor or whatever, anyone.
They would.
So they would treat you
Oh
differently.
yeah.
Well, that's something.
I was a completely new person after that day.
Really?
Yeah.
What would they do or say?
They would just treat you like a second-class citizen or the enemy.
With suspicion.
Yeah. Because they knew where I was from, and then that happened, and then suddenly you're also a terrorist. And that didn't stop until like freshman year of college.
And you're in what grade now?
Almost a senior.
Your mom doesn't wear a scarf, right?
No, she's not Muslim.
You know, because it's harder for even if like.
Even if she was Muslim, I'm pretty sure like look at all the Muslim women that came here to not have to wear scarves. At least it's different in Iran because like it's like half religion, half you have to. Otherwise you get thrown in prison. So most of them who are even devout Muslims that come here, they still cover up, or they don't cover up. Like my grandma, she's been to Mecca like 4 times pilgrimage.
Mhm.
Hardcore Muslim. She came here, she didn't cover up
Why?
because it's like you're free for your
Oh.
duration of your vacation. It's women are like over there, like they don't give 2 craps if you're a woman, and then like if you're not a Muslim woman, that's even worse.
Mm.
Like it goes. I would probably say like some dogs get treated better than like a Baha'i woman would over there. They hate Baha'is. It's like
What's
Germans.
Baha'i?
It's just a religion in Iran. They it's basically like Nazis to Jews over there. That's how bad they hate them. Like you thrown in prison. Baha'is can't go to college. There's been the Board of Education's been arrested for 20 years now. They have a 20-year sentence.
Oh
And
my
then-
gosh.
yeah, for just being Baha'i, they didn't do anything wrong.
And so at least those people now get those opportunities. And do you think it's different here for them?
What do you mean?
Like, for example, a Baha'i person there might not like, go to the doctor and get treated well, but
A Baha'i person wouldn't even be allowed in the hospital.
right, and here they're
Here, it wouldn't matter.
right. So that's good.
That's rough. I've never heard of Baha'i before.
Are you what do you call yourself?
I'm atheist. I don't have religion. After what I've seen, what religion does to people, I don't.
Are your parents?
My parents are Baha'i.
Oh, okay. So
Oh.
I didn't realize. So, are there any restrictions in the Baha'i culture?
Yeah.
In terms of like medical things you can or cannot do.
Medical, no, because I had an MRI and she asked me what religion I was. I was like, what the hell does that matter? And she said, oh, just because some religions have certain things. And I was like what? She's like, oh, for example, Mormons can't have blood transfusions.
Right, or Jews.
And I was like, no, we don't have anything